From Hollywood, it's America's #1 popular music show, America's Top 10, with Casey Kasem, where this week you'll see Queen.
Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. And the beginning of our 4-part feature on pop music, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, plus Casey's exclusive reviews of Billboard's Top 10 on the pop, soul, country, and album charts. Now for the week ending October 19th, 1980, here's Casey Kasem.
Hello again, everybody. Let's take a look at the pop chart this week. The top 10 looks like this. At number 5, we have noteworthy action, moving all the way up from number 12, 7 big notches, the Pointer Sisters. Their latest, He's So Shy. At number 2, one of the hottest records of the year, Barbra Streisand's Woman in Love, but not hot enough to displace the song that's at number 1 for the 3rd week in a row, and that's Queen with Another One Bites the Dust. Well, now it's time for our Pop Spotlight Song of the Week. And we feature the hottest band in the land right now. They're number 1 on the pop singles chart, number 1 on the album chart, and number 2, and this is noteworthy, on the soul chart. It's the English group Queen. 4 rock musicians who've been together for 9 years now, and each year more successful than the last. The main focus of Queen's image is their flamboyant founder and lead singer, Freddie Mercury. And what allows Freddie to do the things he does with such confidence is the support he gets from bass player John Deacon, guitarist Brian May, and drummer Roger Taylor. Here they all are with our Pop Spotlight Song of the Week. Another One Bites the Dust, Queen. There it is. That was Queen with the number 1 song in the land this week. Another One Bites the Dust. In just a moment, you'll see Earth, Wind, and Fire. All right, now let's take a look at the top 10 on the soul chart this week in AT10. We have 2 new records in the top 10. At number 10, He's So Shy, moving up 1 notch by the Pointer Sisters. At number 9, coming up from 13, is Let Me Talk by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And at number 1, 3rd week in a row on the soul chart, Tom Brown's Funkin' for Jamaica. All right, now it's time for our Soul Spotlight Song of the Week. It's by a group of 9 men who totally contradict the common image of popular musicians. Not one of the 9, they tell us, smokes or drinks or uses drugs. And most are vegetarians. Before each concert, they gather to meditate. Well, that's an admirable lifestyle. But we should judge their musicianship on the basis of how well they've done. So how about 15 top 10 hits on the soul chart, with 7 of them going all the way to number 1? Not to mention 7 gold albums, with 5 of those going platinum. Now, putting out a cigarette and picking up a carrot is no guarantee of success, but it certainly hasn't hurt Earth, Wind, and Fire. Here's their latest smash in our Soul Spotlight, Let Me Talk. Earth, Wind, and Fire. They're sensational. Earth, Wind, and Fire with our top 10 soul hit, Let Me Talk. I'll have part 1 of our 4-part feature on pop music yesterday, today, and tomorrow in just a moment. But first, a reminder about your favorite artist contest. Now, all you have to do to enter is take a postcard and list your favorite recording artists and number them in order from number 1 to number 3. Your entry must be postmarked by November 4th, 1980, and received by America's Top 10 before November 10th, 1980. Now, we'll tabulate the top 10 favorite artists and feature them in a special America's Top 10 countdown the week of November 17th, 1980. All entries listing the top 3 vote getters in proper order will be put into a special drawing. And now here's Charlie Tuner to tell you about the prizes and where to mail your entries.
The first prize winner will receive the Seabird Phoenix, a new 160 selection stereo jukebox, creating an entirely different approach to colored music. The Phoenix, furnished by Seabird, valued at $2,995. Plus a week for 2 at the exclusive Las Tulas Hotel, Tennis Club, and Resort Condominiums, set on 64 acres of lush tropical beachfront in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Travel arrangements furnished by Continental Airlines, serving the fabulous beach resorts of western Mexico, Puerto Vallarta, Manzanillo, Cabo San Lucas, and La Paz. Total value of the trip based on round-trip airfare from Los Angeles, $1,567. There will be 6 second-place prize winners who will receive a Morse electrophonic stereo jukebox with multicolored lights, AM/FM stereo, record changer, and 8-track player recorder. Furnished by Morse Electrophonics. Suggested retail price $759.95. Our 5 third-place prize winners will receive an Astral Tune stereo pack, weighing only 2 pounds 15 ounces. You can take it skiing, cycling, flying, or any place you'd like to gear your own type of music, valued at $210 each. There's only 1 entry per person, so remember, list in order your 3 favorite artists, single or group, on a standard-size postcard, and mail to America's Top 10, Box 1019, Hollywood, California, 90028. Casey?
Thank you, Chuck. In a moment, part 1 of our feature on pop music yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
It was time for a change because of the atmosphere of the country, the nature of the young people, the movement of entertainment, the emergence of television. Something had to happen. So the young people were not satisfied to live with their parents' music, and they were looking for their own. And when they heard it, they latched onto it very quickly.
This is the first segment of my 4-part feature on pop music yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Now, in part 1, we're looking at the 50s as told by the people who lived it. As record executive Alan Livingston said of the 50s, the kids were looking for change. They searched the dials for independent radio stations that were into different kinds of music. And rhythm and blues was different. But
America still wasn't ready, in part for black music.
At that time, mostly black people that was into what I was doing. You had a few whites, but in the area where I lived was very segregated. And even a lot of the whites, I think, that did like what I was doing was, aware of this law of assemblage. And they didn't show up much, neither did, but quite a few of them would buy records, but they didn't make the performances. So I think what I'm trying to say, I was very popular from 49 on, making many hit records, but they didn't cross over.
B.B. King's records didn't cross over because the white adult population wasn't exposed to rhythm and blues.
When Benny Goodman went off the air and Frank Sinatra and Teresa Brewer and all that were doing that kind of stuff, that's what the adults wanted then. See, they grew from the Benny Goodman era into that, and they were 35 years old, digging Frank Sinatra and everything. And then Alan Freed came on the air with black music, which, to white people, that was, you don't listen to black music because you're a white person, you know what I mean? That's the way they thought back in those days. But Alan Freed brought it on the air, that the kids were listening to it, and they were able to break through real easy.
With his car. Well, here he is to tell us all about it with a brand new automobile, Chuck Berry, and you can't catch me.
Flying with my baby last Saturday night to Maybelline. Flying on.
In the mid-50s, you started getting these covers by white artists of hit R&B records. A very typical example was Shake, Rattle, and Roll. The hit version in Minneapolis was the one by Bill Haley, this being 1954, but I heard that a fellow named Joe Turner had done the original recording of this, and I did find that there was one store in Minneapolis that carried these R&B records. I found that Joe Turner record, found that I liked it much more than I liked the Bill Haley.
And Pat Boone, don't forget him either. He did a lot of the old Fats Domino hits. He recorded them. See, Fats had what they called race records. His records only went so far on the charts, and then Pat's, he just covered Fats Domino's records and went all the way.
But here come wind, I'm beating myself, every place.
Yes, the kids of the 50s were looking into rhythm and blues, but they were also testing the waters of country music, particularly a new form called rockabilly.
The rock and roll country was taking over heavily.
When we started at Sun Records, it seemed to be the closest place for the guys who eventually recorded there. Carl Perkins, for instance, was from Jackson, Tennessee. I was from Texas, but there was no place close to Texas that you could record except the West Coast or East Coast. And Presley came up from Mississippi, very close by. And a couple of other guys from Arkansas, so it was just a central place. Plus there was a thing happening that sort of revolutionized music in that after the war, country music was very big. And the one thing they did that pop people didn't do was they sort of went out into the woods. They would play anywhere, practically, and any time.
Then the big man arrived, Elvis.
People didn't understand what the hell he was doing. I mean, I didn't understand what his music was about at the time, but I knew that it was exciting, it was blood-curdling, and he was just an amazing animal, as we call him today.
He obviously was very talented. He had a new sound. The young people found it exciting, rhythmic, stimulating, and it caught their fancy. And that was all it took. And when he finally had the exposure to enable them to react to it, there they were ready for it, and the timing was perfect.
Bullets Durgam was Jackie Gleason's manager, and it was on the Gleason show that Elvis had his first national shot.
One of the reasons we were able to make a deal, it was his first television shot, and of course he had no set price. And I think we established the price at $12.50. That's $1,250. And we had 3 options on them. And when the first show was over and out, the sponsors called Monday. The show was Saturday night. The sponsors called Monday and said, "No way, we don't want that. No more of that." I mean, they were frightened with all the hip movements and all the gyrations and all that.
Despite that, just 3 months later, Elvis exploded.
Sullivan was smart enough to pick him up, and Sullivan paid him $50,000.
I think someone, a Messiah, was destined to come. It just happened to be him. He had the magic. I mean, it's a combination of things, as you well know. I mean, an artist has to have not only sing well, like he sang adequate at that time. He got much better later, of course. That's what success brings. You get confidence. But he just, to me, the world was waiting for Elvis Presley. There was nobody like him. He was a one of a kind.
Elvis Presley, one man, changed the music business.
It changed it tremendously in that it helped to explode it to the multi-billion-dollar industry that it is today. Because the minute you create that kind of excitement and enthusiasm about a new sound among young people, they have to have it.
And there you have it. A brief look at the rock and roll revolution of the 50s, as told by the people who lived it. Next week, part 2, the 60s. Well, now it's time for my trivia question. And this week's question comes from a foreign country. A viewer in Montreal, Canada wants to know whether any song sung in a language other than English has ever made it to the top 10. Answer, yes. During the rock era, 3 foreign language songs have hit number 1 on the American charts. 1 in French, Italian, and 1 in Japanese. I'll have the answer in just a moment. Now, here's the answer to our trivia question. Leah Benegby of Montreal, Canada, watches the show on Channel 5 in Burlington, Vermont. Leah wants to know whether any song sung in a language other than English has ever made it to the top 10 on the Billboard Pop Chart. You bet they have. During the rock era, 3 foreign language songs have gone all the way to number 1. The first, a song called Nel Blue de Pinto de Blue, also known as Volare, hit number 1 in 1958, and it was sung entirely in Italian by Domenico Modugno. Now, in June of 1963, a song called Sukiyaki hit number 1, sung, of course, in Japanese by a Japanese entertainer named Kyu Sakamoto. And a few months later, in December of 63, another song, sung entirely in a foreign language, hit number 1 on the American charts. It was recorded in French by a Belgian nun known as the Singing Nun, a song called Dominique. And there's your answer, Leah. Thanks for writing.
And because America's Top 10 used Leah's question, she'll receive Hamilton Beach's Quartz Heater. Quartz radiant heater design heats people first, not air. Designed to prevent overheating, conserve energy, reduce heating costs from Hamilton Beach, Scoville. And meet the car lovers from Polyglycode. All you'll ever need to restore, protect, and preserve your car for years. Polyglycode at new car dealers and leading retailers.
A reminder, don't forget to enter our Favorite Artist Contest. Simply write your 3 all-time favorite artists in order of your preference on a postcard. And send your entry to America's Top 10, P.O. Box 1019, Hollywood, California, 90028. Now, next week on AT10, you'll see part 2 of our feature, Pop Music, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow. The segment will feature the fabulous 60s. Till then, keep your feet in the ground and keep reaching for the stars.
Hey,